far? Like 5 minutes.
The station with the best music. Best music.
I love the music.
Best music.
This is High Power 102.7 FM.
Feel the rhythm, feel the beat. Type our radio like I want him up see. Keep your soul out on the east. Others for back and I will be jolly. Valid information. Disseminate facts, no complications. We are always on front. 102.7 FM, the pride of the people. Our radio, our diet of giddy. Oh man, no good to my tongue. Our radio, 102.7 FM, the pride of the people. Our radio, the pride of the people. Tiatiani, Emoko. Our radio.
This is my first shot. My phone's down. Yeah, let's see. Good morning and welcome to iPower 102.7 FM, transmitting live from Emirelio in Ondo State. The program is in the papers, your go-to guide for your daily hottest headlines and inside stories. For the next 1 hour, we shall be taking you through stories across different newspapers and taking you stories in and outside Nigeria. I am Florence IBAHREMAN, and with me on the program is
ABDULRASAQ, ALAWAYE, good morning.
Good morning, how you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Okay then, we shall be taking you stories from Punch newspaper, The Nation's newspaper, The Hope newspaper, and
We have the Guardian newspaper and the Punch newspaper and the Daily Post newspaper as well.
okay, we'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll give you highlights of the headlines for today's stories. Glad to have you back. You're still listening to iPower 102.7 FM, and the program is in the papers. Driving straight to the headlines for today, we shall be taking you stories from the Hope newspaper, where I have.
Okay, starting from the Hope newspaper, I have APC chieftain Adaramodu donate exercise book to Ifedore students.
Okay, I have this from the Nation's newspaper, which is impeachment Gill, resignation of acting chairman unsettle Edo State Council.
Still on the Hope newspaper as well, I have federal government begins verification of disputed oil gas field in Niger Delta.
And from the Hope newspaper, I have federal government begins verification of disputed oil gas field in Niger State.
Moving on to another newspaper for today, I have no visa for corrupt Nigerian government, says US wants.
Okay, and this also from the Hope newspaper, where I have police bust kidnapper gang victim killed after paying ransom.
And from the Daily Post newspaper, I have Senate postponed plenary resumption to announce new date.
And from the Punch newspaper, I have defamation charge. Natasha accused federal government of double standard.
Another story coming from the Daily Post newspaper as well. We have 2027 unite or prepare to hand Tinubu a second term. Coalition tells Atiku and Obi.
And from the Punch newspaper, I have Fubara consults Tinubu on river peace substance.
Still on the Punch newspaper as well, we have NBS announced 4.23% economic growth. Labour disagrees.
Okay, and from the Guardian newspaper, I have Ladoja's coronation begins with interfaith prayers.
And away from the Guardian newspaper to the Daily Post newspaper, we have Nigerian cannot continue to bury men in uniform, says Peter Obi.
Okay, still on the Guardian newspaper, where I have judiciary remains a vital pillar of democracy, says Sanwo-Olu.
And still on the Guardian newspaper, we have 68 Kano inmates exiled in 2025 NECO examinations.
And of course, still on the Guardian newspaper, where I have INEC to probe Taraba Commissioner over alleged exam malpractice.
Moving straight away to the Nation newspaper, where we have Obi should stop playing politics with philanthropy, says Lagos APC.
And still on the Nation newspaper, where I have Ekiti governorship poll, no special consideration for any aspirant, says APC.
Moving straight away to the Daily Post newspaper, coming from Rivers, I am now in good relation with Wike, says Fubara.
And still on Daily Post, where we have Governor Fubara reveals reasons for visiting Tinubu.
And we'll go on a short break with that. When we come back, we'll give you details of for that story. All right, many thanks for listening. This is iPower 102.7 FM. In the papers is the program on iPower 102.7 FM. Starting from the first news we are having for you today, we have a news coming from the Hope newspaper that says APC chieftain Adaramodu donate exercise book to Ifedore students. Now to the detail of the story. In a bid to promote education and ease financial burden on parents and All Progressive Congress, APC chieftain Honorable Yetunde Adaramodu has donated exercise books to students across 4 secondary schools in Ifedore local government area of Ondo State. The benefiting schools are Olua High School, Igbarauke, which is our alma mater, Anglican Grammar School, Igbarauke Community High School, Isharon and Alashagba Community High School, Ibuji. Speaking at the presentation ceremony, Adaramodu said the gesture was driven by a passion for education and commitment to encourage young people in our community to take their studies seriously. She said, and I quote, "As someone who was once sat in one of these classrooms, I know how vital it is to have basic material to aid learning. This donation is my little way of giving back and supporting the dream of our young ones." For more information on this particular story, check the Hope newspaper with the headline, APC chieftain Adaramodu donate exercise books to Ifedore students.
I'm still taking stories from the Hope newspaper, where I have FG begins verification of disputed oil gas fields in Niger Delta. Now the details. The federal government has begun a verification of disputed and newly drilled crude oil and gas field and well in the Niger Delta region. Addressing newsmen in Asaba, Dr. Mohammed Shehu, the chairman of the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, said the initiative is aimed at ensuring that every oil and gas producing state receive their rightful share of resources. He said that the exercise was in consonance with the provision of the law, citing paragraph 32, part 1 of the 3rd schedule of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. Shehu noted that the exercise was also informed by the various petitions by governors from Anambra, Delta, Imo, Edo, Ondo, and River, seeking to establish the rightful ownership of territorial boundaries of specific crude oil and gas assets. According to Shehu, the assignment is to be carried out via internal agency technical committee comprising of representatives of Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, Office of the Supervisor General of the Federation, and the National Boundary Boundary Commission. He said, and I quote, "We announced the inauguration of the IATC and reaffirmed our unwavering commitment to accurately identifying the locations of crude oil and gas fields and wells within the disputed areas and the newly drilled crude oil and gas wells." For details of this story, see the Hope newspaper with the headline, "FG begins verification of disputed oil gas fields in Niger Delta."
Away from that to the Daily Post newspaper, where I have Rivers. I am now in good relation with Wike, says Governor Fubara. Now to the detail of the story. Rivers State Governor similarly Fubara says he is now in good relationship with the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nelson Wike. This was as is stated that political stability has fully returned to the state. The governor said this in an interview with State House correspondents shortly after visiting President Bola Tinubu at the presidential villa in Abuja. Report says that the President Tinubu received Fubara at the State House on Monday, September 22, 2025. During a statement, the governor said the crisis that rocked Rivers State had been settled. He said, and I quote, "I don't know what you mean by if this is a paper peace. As far as I am concerned, we have made peace. Fubara and his principal are working together." For more information, check the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, "I am now in good relationship with Wike," says Fubara.
Also taking stories from the Hope newspaper, where I have no visa for corrupt Nigerian government officials, says the U.S. The United States has warned the corrupt Nigerian government officials risk visa restriction. In a statement posted on its official X handle on Monday, the U.S. mission in Nigeria said fighting corruption has no borders and that accountability extends to high-profile individuals. The mission said, and I quote, "Fighting corruption knows no borders or limit on accountability. Even when high-profile individuals engage in corruption, they can be barred from receiving U.S. visas." It was gathered that the U.S. has repeatedly stressed its commitment to supporting Nigerians' anti-corruption drive. The U.S. had in the past imposed visa restrictions on politicians accused of undermining democratic processes and engaging in electoral malpractices. The latest warning comes at the time when transparency advocates have raised concerns over alleged mismanagement of public funds and abuse of office across different levels of government in Nigeria. Washington maintains that denied entry to corrupt officials is part of its broader strategy to promote good governance, accountability, and respect for the rule of law in partner nations. For details of the story, see the Hope newspaper with the headline, "No visa for corrupt Nigerian government officials, U.S. warns."
And still on the Daily Post newspaper, where we have PDP elects new grassroots executive, I-2027 victory in Adamawa State. Now to the story. The People's Democratic Party, PDP in Adamawa State, has chosen new executive across all 21 local government areas to lead the party at the grassroots level. The executive were picked through a census arrangement agreed upon by party members to ensure unity and reduce disputes. Speaking while monitoring the Congress in Yola South, Yola North, and Goria local government area on Monday, the chairman of the Adamawa PDP local government Congress committee, retired Honorable David Lombe, said he was pleased with how the exercise was conducted. He said, and I quote, "I am satisfied with the large turnout and the maturity our members have shown today. The consensus option has really helped to unite the party and avoid unnecessary tension." He praised Governor Ahmadu Umar Fintiri for his major achievements and forward-thinking leadership, saying that they have improved the state and made PDP more popular. For more detail of this story, check the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, "PDP elects new grassroots executive, I-2027 victory in Adamawa."
And taking stories from the Hope newspaper, I have police bust kidnap gang. Victim killed after paying ransom. Now the details. The Rivers State Police Command has arrested 3 suspected kidnappers allegedly involved in multiple abductions, including the mother of one victim after collecting a 6.9 million naira ransom. The police public relations officer Grace Irige Koko identified the suspect as Azan Mohammed, 20 years, from Borno State, Bello Abubakar, 25, and from Sokoto State, and Yusuf Ahmed, 23, from Bauchi State. The arrest followed an investigation into the kidnap of Humphrey Wagbara of Ikuruta, Aptali, who was reported killed after his abductors collected ransom. The suspect also confessed to abducting Mercy Chinyere on September 12, 2025, collecting 3.5 million naira before releasing her. Eric Koko said on August 26, the Rivers State Police Command received a distress report of Humphrey Wagbara's abduction. Acting on the information, operative of the anti-cultism unit arrested the suspect in a coordinated operation on September 19 at Obio Akpogo, Akpo, the Ikwere local government, recovering items including 3 rifles, 3 short dagger, a jackknife, and 1 item phone belonging to Humphrey Wagbara. The suspect remained in the police custody while detectives track other fleeing members of the syndicate. For details of the story, see the Hope newspaper with the headline, Police Boss Kidnap Gang, Victim Killed After Paying Ransom.
Still on the Punch newspaper as well, we have a flood disaster. State intensify action as 232 die, 121,000 displaced. Now to the story, we have several states, including Kaduna, Nasarawa, Bauchi, and Jigawa states, have intensified campaign to avert flood crisis, says the report from the Punch newspaper. According to the figure obtained by the Punch from the National Emergency Management Agency, on Monday, not fewer than 232 persons have lost their lives, while 121,224 others have been displaced following flood that swept through parts of the country. As of September 20, 2025, the 2025 flood dashboard showed that at least 339,658 people also recorded some of losses, while 681 sustained various injuries. Deaths were recorded in 7 states, with Niger State accounting for 163 fatalities, Adamawa State 59, while Taraba State 5, Yobe State 2, Borno, Gombe, and Jigawa State 1 each, bringing the nationwide death toll to 232. The flood also resulted in 15 cases of missing persons across the country. The disaster also left 42,301 houses damaged and destroyed about 48,447 hectares of cultivated farmland. The most impacted states include Lagos, where 57,951 people were affected, 3,680 people displaced, and 3,244 houses damaged, while in Adamawa, with 57,890 affected, 23,077 displaced, while 438 injured. Other states also has severe heat, where Imo, and also we have some other states like Taraba, and we have states from River State and Delta also were affected by the issue of the flood. For more information on this particular story, check the Punch newspaper with the headline, Flood Disaster, State Intensify Action as 232 dies and 121,000 displaced.
You're still listening to iPower 102.7 FM, and the program is In the Papers. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll take you through the rest of the stories. Glad to have you back. You're still listening to iPower 102.7 FM, and the program is In the Papers. Now, taking us straight to the Punch newspaper, where I have defamation charge. Natasha accuses federal government of double standard. Now the details. The lawmaker representing Kogi Central, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, on Monday launched a strong legal offense against the federal government, describing the criminal defamation charge filed against her as a brazen act of political persecution and an exhibition of double standard by federal government. In a preliminary objection seeking the dismissal of the 6th count filed against her by the Attorney General of the Federation, the Kogi senator contended that while the federal government was quick to file charges against her based on the complaint of the Senate President Godwin Akpabio, the same government ignored her own earlier petition against Akpabio. The charge filed under the Cybercrime Prohibition Prevention Amendment Act 2024 was brought following petition by Akpabio and ex-Kogi State Governor Yaya Bello over remarks that she allegedly made during a public address and a TV interview. Her arraignment on June 20 drew national attention, with many opposition figures alleging that the case was politically motivated. She was granted bail on self-recognition after pleading not guilty. The case marked FHC Abuja CR 195/2025 is being prosecuted by the Director of Public Prosecution of the Federation, Mohammed Abubakar. For details of this story, see the Punch newspaper with the headline, Defamation Charge. Natasha accuses federal government of double standards.
Moving on to the Punch newspaper, where we have 2027 Rep urges Atiku Obi to step down for Tinubu. Now to the detail of the story. Members representing Agege Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives, Dr. Wale Ahmed, has told critics of President Bola Tinubu to shelve any plan of challenging him in the 2027 election, insisting that a second term for the president is granted. This comes despite opposition parties, including the People's Democratic Party, African Democratic Party, Labour Congress, and the New Nigerian Political Party, going to unseat Tinubu in the next general election. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, ex-Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi, and the ADC coalition led by former Senate President David Mark have been at the forefront of criticizing the Tinubu's administration. Speaking at the stakeholders briefing held at Agege local government area, Ahmed urged that since late President Muhammad Buhari from the north was allowed to complete 2 terms, it was fair that Tinubu from the south completes 2 terms too. He also held that President bold reform and foreign engagement has earned Nigerian international respect and laid the foundation for long-term economic recovery. He said, and I quote, all his opponents should rest and allow him to have a second term. All opposition should simply rally round and support Tinubu. Late President Muhammad Buhari from the north served 2 terms, so Tinubu should also have his second term. By God's grace, his second term is assured. I will mobilize my constituency to ensure Tinubu is returned for another term. For detail of the story, check the Punch newspaper with the headline 2027 Rep urges Atiku Obi to step down for Tinubu.
For reactions and contributions of the story read so far, you can reach us on the studio line 0816-552-4699, 0816-552-4699. Now, taking us straight to the Punch newspaper, where I have NBS announces 4.23% economic growth. Labour disagrees. Nigerian gross domestic product rose by 4.23% year-on-year in real terms in the second quarter of 2025, According to the latest figures released on Monday by the Nigerian Bureau on Statistics, the performance was stronger than the 3.48% growth recorded in the same period of 2024, showing that the economy gained momentum despite persistent structural challenges. The Bureau explained that the quarterly estimate followed the rebasing of GDP using 2019 as the base year, allowing comparison to track the pace of expansion across sector. The report read, following the rebasing of the gross domestic product using 2019 as the base year, previous quarterly GDP estimates were benchmarked to the rebased annual estimates to align the old series of the new rebased estimates. The procedure provided a new quarterly GDP series which is compared to the 2025 second quarter estimate. The gross domestic product grew by 4.23% year on year in terms of the second quarter of 2025. For details of this story, see the Punch newspaper with the headline, NBS announces 4.23 economic growth, Labour disagrees.
Away from that, sailing through the pond of the Daily Post newspaper, where we have Senate postponed plenary resumption, announced this new date. Now to the detail of the story. The Senate has shifted the resumption of its plenary from September 23rd to October 7, 2025. The development was contained in an internal memo signed by the Chief of Staff to the Senate President, Chinedu Akubizi. The memo reads, "This is to respectfully inform distinguished senators that the resumption of the plenary sitting of the Senate, earlier scheduled for Tuesday, 23rd September 2025, has been shifted to Tuesday, 7th October 2025. Any inconvenience this short notice may cause is deeply regretted. Distinguished senators are kindly invited to note the postponement and adjust their schedule accordingly. Thank you for your kind understanding and God bless." For more detail of the story, check the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, Senate postponed plenary resumption, announces new date.
Also taking us through the Guardian newspaper, where I have Ladoja's coronation begins with interfaith prayers. Now the details. The week-long activities for the coronation of the former governor of Oyo State, Rashidi Ladoja, as the 44th Olubadan of Ibadan land, commenced yesterday with an interdenominational prayer section held at the Olubadan Palace, ABDULRASAQ, Ibadan. The event brought together key members of the Olubadan in council, religious leaders, and well-wishers, setting the tune for what many have described as a historic and unified moment for Ibadan land. Among the dignitaries in attendance were Kola Adegbola Otun Olubadan, Dauda Abiodun Aziz Ashipa Olubadan, and Oba Adebayo Akonde Ekarun Olubadan, among others. Prayers and blessings were offered across religion lines with Bible readings, the Quran recitation, and the traditional Iyere Ifa chant woven into rich tapestry of spiritual invocation. The gathering also included prayers for Governor Sheyi Makinde and for a peaceful and prosperous reign of the incoming monarch. Also, religious leaders took turns to bless the new chapter unfolding in Ibadan's royal history. For details of the story, see the Guardian newspaper with the headline, Ladoja's coronations begins with interfaith prayers.
Still on the Punch newspaper, where we have NYC set date for 2025 Batch B Stream 2 orientation course. Now to the story. For your reaction and your opinion, your perspective about the program, you can call us on 81
816-552-4699. 0816-552-4699.
Still reading from the Punch newspaper as well, we have the National Youth Service Corps has announced that 2025 batch B Stream 2 orientation course will commence nationwide on Wednesday, September 24, 2025, across all orientation camps. According to a statement issued via its official Facebook on Monday, the scheme said registration will run until midnight on Friday, September 26, while the swearing-in ceremony is scheduled for the same day. It added that 3-week exercise will end with a closing ceremony on Tuesday, October 14, 2025. However, the NYC clarified that the orientation course in Kwara State will open later, beginning on Tuesday, September 30, and closes on Monday, October 20, 2025. The statement said the Director General of the NYC, Brigadier General Olakunle Nafiu, urged all prospective corps members to report to the camp, indicated in their follow-up letters, stressing that the need for the compliance with all registration requirements. Foreign trained graduates are expected to present their international passport and original copy of uploaded documents. He warned PCMs against presentation of fake documents, cautioning that offenders would be handed over to law enforcement agency for prosecution. Graduates of monotechnics and polytechnics are specifically required to produce their national diploma certificate as part of the registration processes. For more detail of the story, check the Punch newspaper with the headline NYSC sets date for 2025 batch B Stream 2 orientation course.
Also, still on the Guardian newspaper, where I have judiciary remains a vital pillar of democracy, says Sanwo-Olu. Now the details. The Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has reaffirmed his commitment to judicial independency reforms and the strengthening of justice delivery in the state. He stated this yesterday during the opening ceremony of the 2025-2026 legal year with a Thanksgiving service held at Christ Church Cathedral, Marina, Lagos. The governor described the judiciary as a vital pillar of democracy, stressed that an independent and courageous bench remains essential for the rule of law for safeguarding citizens' rights. Sanwo-Olu, who was represented by his First Lady, Dr. Ibijoke Sanwo-Olu, congratulated Chief Justice CJ of the state, Justice Kazim Alogba, for steering the judiciary safely and successfully through the past legal year. He also commended judge, magistrate, and lawyers for their resilience and sacrifices, which he said were pivotal in upholding justice, fairness, and integrity in the state. For details of the story, see the Guardian newspaper with the headline, Judiciary remains a vital pillar of democracy, says Sanwo-Olu.
I'm reading from the Daily Post newspaper, where we have Kano State government announces cabinet reshuffle, new civil service position. Now to the detail of the story. The Kano State Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf has made minor changes to his cabinet and senior civil service position to improve governance and service delivery. The governor spokesperson Sanusi Bature Dawakin Tofel revealed that the change in the statement released late Monday. He said the reshuffle affected key ministers including Justice, Transport, Environment and Humanitarian Affairs. Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice Haruna Issa Dederi has been moved to the head of Ministry of Transport. The Solicitor General and Permanent Secretary of the Justice Ministry, Mustafa Nuruddin Muhammad, has been reassigned as Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Environment. The statement added that the Commissioner of Humanitarian Affairs had been temporarily in charge of transport will return fully to his original post. Governor Yusuf directed the affected officials to hand over the most senior officers in their ministry and complete the process by Tuesday, September 23rd. According to the statement, the governor said the adjustment was aimed at strengthening the governor's ability to deliver on its promise. For detail of the story, check the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, Kano government announces cabinet reshuffle, new civil service position or posting.
And still taking stories from Kano State from the Guardian newspaper, where I have 68 Kano inmates excel in 2025 NECO examinations. Now the details. 68 inmates of the Nigerian Correctional Service Kano State Command have passed their senior secondary school examination in flying colors in the 2025 National Examination Council NECO examinations. The successful inmates who had credit in 5 subjects and above, including mathematics and English, were among thousands of beneficiaries of the Kano State Governor's SSCE scholarship. The education opportunity afforded by the service is an initiative under the Correctional Service Act 2019, which highlights the rehabilitation and reformation of inmates through education and vocational retraining. Governor Abba Kabri Yusuf paid over 3 billion naira in March for 141,175 candidates, including inmates who were writing external examinations like NECO, NAPTEP from Kano. The funding was part of the several billion naira investment of the government in education. Besides the 26% budget allocation for education. In the statement by the spokesperson of Kano NCS, Mushbao Lawan Kofa Nasarawa, the inmates distinguished themselves after a dedicated and rigorous academic pursuit. For details, see the Guardian newspaper with the headline 68 Kano inmates excel in 2025 NECO examinations.
And still reading from the Daily Post newspaper, where we have 2027 unite or prepare to hand Tinubu a second term, coalition tells Atiku. And before reading the main detail of the story, you can connect with us or call us on our number via 081 6552 4699. 081 6552 4699. You can also connect with us via our YouTube by searching for iPower 102.7 FM. Still reading from the Daily Post newspaper, we have a coalition of opposition group have advised former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and the 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi to work together or be prepared to hand President Bola Tinubu a second term on a platter of gold. Coalition of civil service group include the Save Democracy Mega Alliance SDMA and the Civil Society Alliance, among others, gave this advice at a gathering in Abuja yesterday. The South-South coordinator of SDMA, Tony Akenin, who is one of the signatories of the communique issue, after the meeting, explained that the gathering reached the conclusion that Atiku and Obi must unite to make an impact in the 2027 election. He said, and I quote, "If the right decisions are taken by stakeholders of our opposition political parties and electorates, we shall achieve the urgent objective of emancipating our country through the ballot in 2027. If, however, leader of the progressive opposition meets the presidential victory in 2027 through wrong decision, the consequences shall be there for our nation in countless ways. Fortunately, today Nigeria is blessed with 2 outstanding political opposition figures, each one immensely qualified to preside over our country as president and recover our nation to the path of greatness from 2027 forward." For detail of this story, check the Daily Post newspaper with the headline 2027 Unite or Prepare to hand Tinubu a second term, says coalition tells Tinubu Obi.
Still taking stories from the Guardian newspaper, where I have INEC to probe Taraba Commissioner over alleged exam malpractice. Now the details. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICAN, has announced an investigation into the case of impersonation involving an individual who allegedly sat for an exam on behalf of Taraba State Commissioner of Finance. In a viral video obtained by the Guardian yesterday, the impersonator, identified as Levitz Felix, reluctantly confessed to the supervisor who interviewed her after being caught sitting for a professional exam on behalf of the commissioner. She said, "I am writing an exam for Sarah Adi. She works in the Ministry of Finance in Taraba." He further confessed that she was contracted by one Joshua who sits to sit the exam on her behalf. Another impersonator, identified as Abraham Moses, was caught in the viral video alleging that he was writing for one Martins Emmanuel. Last month, the Taraba State Civil Service sought the slacking of the commissioner. Last month, the Taraba State Civil Service sought the sacking of the Commissioner for Finance, Sarah Adi, over alleged irregularities in our biometric verification exercise. Reacting to the viral video, ICANN, in a statement issued yesterday by its registrar and Chief Executive Officer Lanre Olasunkomi, vowed to commence a thorough investigation into the matter, promising that appropriate disciplinary measures would be applied in accordance with the established regulations, and the findings will be communicated transparently to stakeholders. He said, and I quote, "As the foremost professional accountancy body in Nigeria, INEC wishes to state unequivocally that it maintains a strict zero-tolerance policy for all forms of examination malpractice, including impersonation." For details of this story, see the Guardian newspaper with the headline, "INEC to probe Taraba Commissioner over alleged exam malpractice."
Still on the Punch newspaper, where I have this story coming through your air, we have the Kaduna community thanks Sani for settling bandit attacked victims' bill. Now to the detail of the story. The Irigwe community of Kamaru Ward in Chawai Chiefdom, Kara local government area of Kaduna State, has expressed deep appreciation to Governor Ubasani for promptly settling the medical bills of victims of the recent Agwan Rim attack. In a letter opened, signed, and released on Tuesday by community stakeholders, Mr. Babanos Musa and parent representatives, Comrade Raphael Joshua, the residents said the governor's intervention saved the lives of injured children whose treatment had been altered at Baradiko Teaching Hospital after unpaid bill. The letter dated September 22nd, 2025, commended Governor Sani for his swift and compassionate response, noting that the confirmation of full payment was received on Sunday through the chairman of Kara local government area, Honorable Bashir Tanko Dawaki. He said, and I quote, we write to intend our heartfelt appreciation to Your Excellency for your prompt and compassionate intervention. Your swift response has brought renewed hope and comfort to our distressed community. The community also praised the Commissioner for Health, Ajia Umar Ahmed, for her professionalism, and Dawaki for carrying out the directive with dedication and empathy. Recall that gunmen suspected to be bandits had invaded Agwanremi village in Karo local government area on September 15, killing 2 people and leaving several children critically injured. The victims were rushed to Baraka Diko Teaching Hospital in Kaduna Metropolis, but treatment was reportedly suspended after families failed to settle mounting medical bills, prompting an urgent plea to the governor for assistance. The letter concluded with prayer for Sani's success in building a safer and more inclusive Kaduna State. For details of this story, check the Punch newspaper with the headline, Kaduna community thanks Sani for setting bandits attack victim bills.
For reactions and feedback, you can reach us on the studio line 0816-552-4699, 0816-552-4699. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll continue the rest of the stories for today. Glad to have you back. You're still listening to In the Papers on IPA 102.7 FM. And straight to the Nation's newspaper, where I have Obi should stop playing politics with philanthropy, says Lagos APC. Now the details. The Lagos State chapter of the All Progressive Congress APC has noted with disappointment comments by the Labour Party presidential candidate in the 2023 general elections, Mr. Peter Obi, questioning why the National Library should receive birthday donations. The party, in a statement yesterday by the spokesperson Sheye Oladejo, said it is unfortunate, though not surprising, that Mr. Obi continues to reduce every matter of national interest to cheap political commentary. Across the world, public institutions benefit from private support, endorsement, and philanthropy. Such gestures complement government efforts and reflect shared responsibility by national building. Rather than commend well-meaning Nigerians for supporting an important national institution, Obi has chosen once again to play politics with philanthropy. This is not only petty, but also exposes his shallow appreciation of how society grows stronger with citizens contributing to the common good. While President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is focused on reforms to strengthen institutions, the reposition of the economy, Obi appears stuck in the habit of chasing headlines. As our people say, the man who sees every rainfall as a storm will never plant a seed, he said. For details of this story, see the Nation's newspaper with the headline, Obi should stop playing politics with philanthropy, says Lagos APC.
Still, another story coming from Peter Obi as well from the Daily Post newspaper. We have Nigerian can't continue to bury men in uniform, says Peter Obi. Now to the detail of the story. The Labour Party's presidential candidate in the last general election, Peter Obi, has expressed concern over the rising case of killing of security operatives across the country. Obi warned that Nigerians cannot continue to lose men in uniform with adequate support for their families. In a statement posted on its X handle on Tuesday, the former Anambra State governor lamented the recurrent deaths of soldiers, police officers, operatives of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC), and vigilante member in line of duty. He urged the government to prioritize security as the foundation of governance by better equipping and motivating security personnel. Obi also said and called for fair compassion and sustained support for the families of the fallen heroes, stressing that it was not an act of charity but justice for those who sacrificed their life for the nation. He said in a statement titled Protecting Our Security Operatives. Over the past weeks, the country has been thrown into mourning yet again with the reported tragic killing of our security personnel. He said, and I quote, "The casualty rate from our gallanted soldiers to members of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, to our brave policemen and even community vigilante members, our men and women in uniform have paid the ultimate price in line of duty, dedicating their life to the safety and stability of our nation. These recurring killings should serve as a wake-up call to us leaders to better equip and motivate our security operatives. Security must now become the foundation of governance. The memory of our fallen heroes should ignite in us in a determination to build a Nigerian where no one lives is valueless, not our security operatives and definitely not their families. For detail of the story, check the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, Nigeria cannot continue to bury men in uniform, says Peter Obi.
And lastly, taking stories from the Nation newspaper, where I have Ekiti governorship poll, no special consideration for any aspirant, says APC. Now the details. Ahead of October 27 Ekiti State All Progressive Congress APC governorship shadow election, the chairman of the screening committee, ALAWAYE, has said there would be no special consideration for any of the four aspirants jolting for the party's ticket. He spoke yesterday shortly after the inauguration of the screening and appeal committee for the party's primary elections by the Deputy National Organizing Secretary Nze Chidi Duru at the party's National Secretariat in Abuja. The aspirants jolting for the party's ticket are the incumbent Governor Biodun Oyebanji, Bimbola Olawumi, the Pro-Chancellor of the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, Kayode Olubomi Ojo, and Omolayo Oluremi. Inaugurating the two committees, APC Deputy National Organizing Secretary Duru said the party placed confidence in the committee to deliver their assignment diligently without fear or favor. He advised them to adhere to the party's guidelines and the electoral laws in the discharge of their assignment. For details of the story, see the Nation's newspaper with the headline, Ekiti governorship poll, no special consideration for any aspirant, says APC.
And with that, we've come to the end of today's edition of In the Papers, a newspaper review program on IPAWA 102.7 FM in Emurile, Owo, Ondo State. You can connect with us or call us via the number to share your perspective or opinion about the stories and headlines read so far on 081 65524 699. 081 65524 699. Starting from the headline read so far, we read from the Hope newspaper that APC chieftain Adaramodu donates exercise book to Ifedore students.
And still taking stories from the Hope newspaper, we told you that federal government begins verification of disputed oil gas fields in Niger Delta.
In the course of the reading from newspaper, we read to you from Daily Post newspaper that Rivers, I am now in good relation with Wike, says Governor Fubara.
And taking stories from the Hope newspaper, we read to you that no visa for corrupt Nigerian government officials, the US warns.
We also brought story from the Daily Post newspaper, where we brought to you that PDP elect new grassroots executive, 2027 victory in Adamawa.
We equally informed you from the Hope newspaper that police bust kidnap gang, victim killed after paying ransom.
Likewise, we also brought to you from the Punch newspaper that Tinubu 2027 rep urges Atiku Obi to step aside.
And still taking the story from the Punch, we told you that defamation charges, Natasha accuses federal government of double standard.
In the course of bringing stories to your hair, we brought to you from the Daily Post newspaper that Senate postponed plenary resumption, announced new date.
Talking business from the Punch newspaper, we informed that NBS announces 4.23% economic growth. Labour disagrees.
From National Youth Service Corps, we brought to you from the Punch newspaper that NYSE's 2025 Batch B Stream 2 orientation course date announced.
From the Guardian newspaper, we informed that Ladoja's coronations begins with interfaith prayers.
And we move swiftly to Kano State, where we brought to you from the Daily Post newspaper that Kano State Governor announced cabinet reshuffle, new civil service posting.
From the Guardian newspaper, we informed that judiciary remains a vital pillar of democracy, says Sanwo-Olu.
We also took you to the 2027 election as well from the Daily Post newspaper. We have Unite or prepare to hand Tinubu a second term. Coalition tells Atiku and Tinubu.
And from the Guardian newspaper, we're informed that 68 Kano inmates excel in 2025 NECO examinations.
And we move straightly to Kaduna State, where we brought to you that Kaduna community thanks signing for settling bandit attack victims bill.
And still from the Guardian, we informed you that INEC to probe Taraba Commissioner over alleged examination malpractice.
And lastly, from the Daily Post newspaper, where we brought to you as well from the Daily Post newspaper that Nigeria cannot continue to bury men in uniform, says Peter Obi.
From the Nation, we equally informed that Ekiti governorship poll, no special consideration for any aspirant, says APC.
It has been a pleasant morning listening to us from iPower 102.7 FM, a newspaper review program. It's been a lovely morning and do have a wonderful day. I am ABDULRASAQ ALAWAYE and with me is
FLORENCE IBAHREMAN.
Until next time, that's tomorrow. We'll be coming through your hair from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock to bring you the stories diverse from Nigeria and that are beyond. Do have a pleasant and beautiful morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Don't touch the dial.